A serial killer is defined as someone who murders at least two individuals in separate incidents occurring at different times. Although serial murder isn't a legal term, the chilling and often grotesque acts of these criminals have captivated media attention and horrified the public. The cases that follow are some of the most notorious in history, involving killers whose methods and motives continue to shock the world. Jack the Ripper. We know him as Jack the Ripper, but the true identity behind one of history's most infamous murder sprees remains a mystery. In 1888, this elusive killer terrorized London's Whitechapel district, brutally murdering 5 women, all of whom were prostitutes. Each victim was horrifically mutilated, leading investigators to believe the perpetrator might have been a surgeon or butcher, as the precision of the cuts suggested expertise with a scalpel. Jack taunted the authorities and the public by sending letters detailing his crimes, further inciting panic. Over the years, many suspects have been suggested, but no one has ever been definitively identified, leaving this case unsolved. The fear and chaos Jack the Ripper caused in Victorian London led to a media frenzy, with many newspapers sensationalizing his murders. The mystery surrounding the case has inspired countless books, films, and TV shows, turning Jack the Ripper into an almost mythical figure in criminal history. Jeffrey Dahmer. Jeffrey Dahmer began his horrifying killing spree in 1978 at the young age of 18 and continued until his arrest in 1991. By the time he was caught, Dahmer had brutally murdered 17 individuals, most of them young men of color. What shocked authorities and the public most was the gruesome discovery inside his Milwaukee apartment, where photos of dismembered bodies were found, along with body parts scattered throughout the space. Dahmer even kept a vat of acid in which he dissolved some of his victims. Prior to his murder convictions, Dahmer had already been imprisoned once for molestation, showing a history of deviant behavior. He met a violent end in prison in 1994, where he was beaten to death by a fellow inmate. His story, one of the most chilling in American history, remains a symbol of unimaginable horror. Dahmer's case continues to raise questions about the warning signs of such behavior and how his mental health issues, including necrophilia and cannibalism, went unnoticed for so long. His crimes have since been analyzed by criminologists and psychologists to understand the complexities of serial killing. Harold Shipman. Dr. Harold Shipman, infamously dubbed Dr. Death, is believed to have taken the lives of around 250 patients, making him one of the most prolific serial killers in history. Practicing in Greater Manchester, England, Shipman killed his patients, mostly elderly women, over a span of 26 years, between 1972 and 1998. Suspicion began to mount when an undertaker noticed an unusually high number of cremation certificates signed by Shipman, coupled with the fact that many of his patients died under strange circumstances during the daytime. Despite initial police mishandling of the investigation, Shipman's downfall came when he tried to forge the will of one of his victims, leaving himself as the beneficiary. This act led to his eventual arrest, and in 2000, he was convicted of multiple murders. Shipman died by suicide in prison in 2004, leaving behind a dark legacy of betrayal and death under the guise of a trusted physician. His case highlighted the importance of oversight in the medical profession, prompting stricter regulations for doctors in the UK. Shipman's murders also ignited public outrage and mistrust in the healthcare system, forever tarnishing the reputation of what should have been a noble profession. John Wayne Gacy. John Wayne Gacy was a seemingly typical suburban construction worker in Chicago, known for his community involvement and even playing a clown at local children's parties. But beneath his friendly facade was one of America's most sadistic serial killers. In 1978, Gacy's horrific acts came to light when a 15-year-old boy he had last been seen with went missing. Police soon obtained a search warrant for Gacy's house, where the stench of death led to a gruesome discovery: nearly 30 bodies buried beneath his home in a crawlspace. Gacy was convicted of 33 murders, many of which included acts of rape and torture. His case remains one of the most disturbing in American history, as Gacy preyed on young boys and men, luring them into his home under the guise of friendship. In 1994, Gacy was executed by lethal injection, but his name remains synonymous with evil. Gacy's case became a national media sensation, partly due to his double life as a family man and killer clown, which fascinated and horrified the public. His actions raised awareness of the dangers posed by seemingly ordinary people hiding dark, violent tendencies. H. Holmes. H. Holmes was a sinister figure in Chicago, gaining infamy for creating a literal house of horrors ahead of the 1893 World's Fair. A pharmacist by trade, Holmes built a 3-story hotel designed specifically for murder, complete with gas chambers, secret passages, and trapdoors. He lured unsuspecting guests to their doom, often rendering them unconscious with gas, before subjecting them to unimaginable torture. Holmes would dispose of their bodies by burning them in the hotel's furnace, and in a grotesque twist, he sold their skeletons to medical schools. Though he confessed to more than 30 murders, it's believed the actual number may have been higher. Holmes' reign of terror came to an end when he was turned in by a fellow con artist for failing to uphold a financial agreement. In 1896, Holmes was hanged, but his eerie legend continues to haunt the history of American crime. Holmes' murder castle has since become the stuff of legend, with historians and writers piecing together the chilling details of the hotel's many hidden horrors. His case is often considered one of the first examples of modern serial killing, blending cold calculation with sadistic pleasure. Pedro Lopez. Pedro Lopez, known as the Monster of the Andes, is one of the most prolific and terrifying serial killers the world has ever seen. Lopez confessed to the murders of over 300 individuals across Colombia, Ecuador, and Peru, with a significant portion of his victims being young girls from indigenous communities. After his capture in 1980, authorities uncovered the graves of 53 of his preteen victims. He was convicted of killing 110 girls in Ecuador alone, and further confessed to killing 240 more in Colombia and Peru. Shockingly, despite his monstrous crimes, Lopez was released from prison in 1998 due to good behavior. More than 2 decades later, his whereabouts remain unknown, leaving an unsettling mystery that has yet to be resolved. His case highlights troubling flaws in the justice system, as a man responsible for hundreds of deaths was allowed to walk free. Lopez's release caused public outrage, sparking debates about prison reform, rehabilitation, and the safety of communities. To this day, authorities remain on alert, as the possibility of Lopez resurfacing continues to haunt the Andean region. Ted Bundy. Ted Bundy is perhaps one of the most infamous and widely recognized serial killers in American history, known as much for his charisma and charm as for the brutality of his crimes. Bundy's killing spree spanned multiple states across the western United States, with his victims primarily being young women in their late teens and early 20s. Arrested once in Colorado for kidnapping, Bundy managed to escape prison and continued his murderous rampage in Florida, where he claimed even more lives. His trial in Florida became a national spectacle, with Bundy acting as his own attorney, reveling in the media attention. His narcissism and arrogance were on full display as he gave interviews and even boasted of his fan following. Ultimately, Bundy was convicted and sentenced to death, and in 1989, he was executed in the electric chair. His legacy of terror remains deeply ingrained in American popular culture, symbolizing the face of evil disguised in a charming smile. Bundy's case has since been dissected in countless documentaries, books, and movies, contributing to his infamous status. His manipulative nature, coupled with his ability to evade capture for so long, continues to fascinate psychologists and criminologists. Thanks for watching. If you found this video intriguing, don't forget to hit the like button and share it with your friends. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss out on more chilling stories, true crime insights, and mysterious tales from history. Drop a comment below with your thoughts or let us know which notorious case you'd like us to cover next. Stay safe, and we'll see you in the next video.